Hello children, I welcome you all to English class of class 8. Today we are going to discuss about our unit 2. And unit 2 we are going to discuss about social issues. In that we have three readings. Reading A, Oliver asks for more. Reading B, The Cry of Children, it's a poem. And reading C, Reaching the Unreached. Now let's know about reading A, Oliver asks for more. To begin with, first let us know about the author of this lesson, Charles Dickens, from 1812 to 1870. He is a well-known English novelist. Of course, he is a British man. Due to his father's imprisonment, he had a bad childhood. He had to face a lot of problems. So he stopped going to school and he started working in a shoe factory. And while he was going to work like an office boy, simultaneously he started his writing career, and he started writing some good novels like Oliver Twist, Great Expectations, Pickwick Papers, Bleak House, which really got him good name and fame all over the world. And he mostly focused on social issues and human ailments in his work, and he wanted to bring out these problems which the people of the community are facing to the world. So whoever reads the stories of Charles Dickens can understand what was the situation that people were facing in those times. And now still we can say that he is recognized as a literary genius, and even still people read with great interest all his short stories and all. So this lesson, Oliver Asks for More, is an extract. It is a part taken from his novel Oliver Twist. So let's now focus on the lesson. So this lesson is about a small boy, and this boy's name is Oliver. He was brought to a children's home and he was kept in a small orphanage. Okay, so that orphanage was taking care of parish people, and there were some men, church, they were also managing a church. And then there was a big room. Okay, so that boardmen were sitting in that room, and they called Oliver for a small meeting. So Mr. Bumble, he was a caretaker there, he goes and informs Oliver to come back to meet people. So he comes back from his room to the live boardroom, and after seeing a group of 10 people sitting on round table, they were all dressed in coats and all, and that was a large whitewashed room. And when people started talking to Oliver, Oliver was like too afraid to give out any answer. He was like stoned. He was not able to give out any word out of his mouth. And Mr. Bumble gives out a whack on his back. And suddenly, this poor boy started shedding his tears. And then he was unable to understand even a simple question, like when they asked him, "Are you an orphan?" That he couldn't even understand what to give out the answer. So we can understand the innocence of this boy. Okay. So the question that was asked to Oliver was, "Are you an orphan?" And with an innocent mind, immediately Oliver replies back that he doesn't even know the meaning of being an orphan. So all of them will become angry at Oliver, and they start saying that, "Don't you know the meaning of an orphan?" And then he was also given an instruction that from the next day morning he had to get up and go pick up some oakum, okay, early in the morning at 6 o'clock. After giving this instruction, he was asked to leave that room, and Mr. Bumble takes him away, and he rushes back to his room, and he sleeps on his hard bed, and he sobs and cries, okay, he till he sleeps. And then after a while, this life board member started observing that the children were playing. So they thought that all children who were residing in that workhouse, like, all play and no work, and only thing that they had in their mind is, let us reduce the number of meals given. Okay, so they started cutting down the meals, like they planned only to give 3 meals a day, and that too it was gruel. Okay, gruel is the liquid cooked food that is separated from rice and oats. Okay, so only once or twice in a week they were adding some onions to that or some breadcrumbs. So you can understand that boys of that age with good appetite, like they were all in very great hunger, they used to immediately, quickly, as soon as possible, whenever it is served, they used to finish the bowls immediately, and they were eating so quickly that they were shining. It is discussed like they were polishing the bowls, and the bowls were shining like anything. Okay, and they were within their minds, like they were thinking that once given a chance they would actually devour or eat the whole meal of that big bowl. Okay, so yeah, in spite of being given three meals, you can understand that is a liquid food, and they could not keep their hunger within them. So they were like starving. Some of them even shrinked in their sizes. They couldn't bear this hunger. So they started discussing like who will go and ask, but none of them dared to ask. But Oliver, on behalf of all of his friends, takes a dare step to go and ask Mr. Bumble. So when he goes for another bowl, he stands there and he asks like, "I want more. I want one more bowl of food." Mr. Bumble immediately he becomes very angry at this boy, and he takes out his big ladle and gives a whack on his head, and then suddenly he rushes back to the lifeboat room and he informs them like Oliver asked for one more bowl of food. Immediately all of them also gives the same reaction like Oliver has done a big sin of asking one more bowl of food. Okay, so all of them get into a big shock and they all take a decision like the next day morning this boy should be hanged. Okay, and later after a discussion happens, finally they come to a decision that they are going to announce something like anyone who can actually purchase this boy by paying £5 of money can take this boy to be their apprentice. So they have declared some punishment for him, and they wanted to get rid of this boy. Like if this boy started protesting, this boy might give ideas to all of them and all of them might follow Oliver. Maybe that was the thought in their mind. Okay, so you can understand children like what was the situation of all the orphans and what kind of problems that they were going through. So when we read this story we can understand like the situations of the community at those times. So this is a part of the lesson that is explained to us, like Oliver Asks for More is a part of bigger novel, and this is given to us to know. Okay, now children, let's know about reading B. The Cry of Children. It's a poem written by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. She is from 1806 to 1861, and she's a great poet of English language, and she's famous for her collection of poems. They include sonnets from Portuguese, Aurora Lake, and the Seraph, etc. And you all should know this, like she started her writing career from the age of 11. Okay, from 11 years onwards, she started her writing career, and she mostly writes uh, touching the human emotions. So, in this poem, we see her describing the common problem the poor children and the orphan children facing is the child labor. Okay, so here we see her describing the sufferings and the conditions like what children face because of the child labor. They may be thrown to child labor because of the poverty that they had in their family, or maybe because there is no one to take care of them. And here we see her describing in very simple lines that even when we read them, the suffering that they are facing is like just before our eyes. The children were striving very hard, like because of the poverty they lost their childhood, and they were forced to work in coal mines and factories, and every day like they were suffering a lot and they were lacking strength to even stand, and they were so tired and weary, and they were like their mind was wanting them to go and run, leap, jump, or do something in the grasslands and all. Like they wanted to take some relaxation by playing in the gardens, but it was not happening with them. And their heart was always craving for that feeling to sleep on meadows, and it was longing a lot. And they say that their knees were trembling. Okay, trembling means they were shivering as they had no strength, and they were stooping, they were like about to fall. And you also see their eyelids were drooping, so they were filled in with tiredness and they were longing to sleep. Okay, and sometimes when they lacked strength completely, they were unable to stand, so they used to fall upon their faces. So each and every line of each stanza describes and keeps their suffering right in front of her eyes. You can observe that, children, when you read this. Due to the tiredness, they felt a lot of weariness, and completely they could not understand what was happening right in front of their eyes. So whatever the beautiful things were there, they were not able to differentiate whether that was a red flower or really red flower, or whether it was a red flame. Only thing that they can see, like it was completely with snow or dusky something, they were seeing in that in a pale form. Okay, so here children, this is only the summary and that I am trying to keep before you, and I want you all to just read this poem and try to understand the essence that what the author wants to bring before you. Okay, so kindly read the poem stanza by stanza, focusing on each and every line. Thank you. Children, now let's know about the reading C, Reaching the Unreached. First, let us try to know about what is discussed under the title. Here, the unreached are the children who are deprived of the basic necessities of their life. As you all know, the basic necessities are food, clothing, shelter, and of course, the education and health. Okay, so these days we find like many children on streets because of the poverty that they are going through, or maybe they are orphans, or whatever the other reasons are, like they are trafficked or thrown away from families. So maybe the reasons are different, but children are facing a lot of problems every day, or they may be prone to domestic violence, and in a way of escaping it they are out of their families. So here one thing we should know is there are some organizations to help such kind of children, and in this lesson we discuss about them. Okay, so here sometimes even the parents, because of having a lot of children, or they are unable to support giving good health food or whatever for all of them, they start sending their children, the elder children, to work or something. So even that is a kind of domestic violence or suffering. Okay, sometimes that becomes a suffering knowingly or unknowingly to the children. Even that becomes a problem. So they are exploited sometimes when they are sent like domestic helpers or to work in some small hotels or whatever. So here these organizations whichever are discussed in this lesson, so they are in great motive, like they are ready to help the children, and they are also providing them with some education, or they are making them learn some life skills. Okay, and these organizations play a great role. And here we know about the stories of two different children. Ramesh, a boy of 14 years, and he's from Bihar. He comes to Hyderabad thinking that the Hyderabad is a place with all golden paved roads. But then during this process of searching a new job, like he wants to earn a living for his widowed mother and to take care of his two sisters, he was doing rag picking. Okay, but he could not earn a lot more than 10 rupees per day. So some people around him noticed the problems that this boy was going through, and they immediately gave an information to childline number, so 1098, you can see that in your left corner. Okay, so the childline immediately came to the rescue of this boy, and they took care of him. And even we listen to the story of Shanti, a small girl of 9 years, and because of the poverty that the family was going through, she was sent as a domestic helper to one middle class family in Hyderabad. So she was in that family, and the family, when leaves to work, she was locked up in the house, and throughout the day she was standing at the window waiting for them. And this was watched by the neighborhood, and they gave an information to child labor enforcement team. Immediately they came for the rescue of that girl, and she was shifted to girl transit place, and then she was well taken care of. So we have to have this idea about even the CRY organization, that is Child Rights and You. Okay, so this organization is filling the gap between the children who are deprived of all the facilities and who are undergoing this child labor, and they are ready to get them admitted or taken care by the organization. So they act like a bridge between these two sections. Okay, the deprived and the people ready to help. So here we find them, CRY, Child Rights and You. Okay, and even we know about the SOS. This is another organization, Save Our Souls. So basically they are known like children's villages. these people generally maintain two kinds of villages, like they also take care of children as well they take care of youth, okay. And their main motive is like children should be in family, should know the value of family, and they should raise in family environment. And during this process, if the family is unable to support their children, they are ready to offer the help. And in this way, if they are unable to take care, like the family is unable to support their children, the SOS village is ready to accept them, and even they teach the life skills to them and helping them in their youth to actually get settled by their own, okay. So SOS plays a great role in this way, and they also rescue the children from child marriages. So they rescued more than 1 lakh children, and so on. And they are also known for providing good advocacy. It's like they talk and give counseling to the parents, and also they do a great lot many things, okay. So here children, you should all have this idea about what are the different organizations which are there to help children. And I guess you all should know this number 1098, and this number certainly helps, okay. You all remember this, and you can inform like anyone anytime who is in need of help, you can inform them, and this is certainly of a good help, okay. And this is all about the lesson reaching the unreached, okay. Now let's focus on vocabulary and grammar given in this unit. Here in vocabulary we are given compound adjectives. So already I guess children you know the meaning of adjective. Adjective is always a describing word. It means it modifies the meaning of the noun. So here the compound adjectives. So you can guess by the name, like the adjectives is not a single adjective, and here two or more adjectives are coming together, and they are simply separated by a hyphen, and we must not take that to be different adjectives, but we should instead treat them to be only one single adjective. Only that we should think that it is coming with hyphen, and then it is trying to describe a noun or modify the meaning of a noun. For example, gold laced cuff, okay. So here the word gold is also adjective, and even the laced is also adjective. Both are describing how is the cuff, it is a gold laced cuff. And a one-eyed man, how is the man, he is one-eyed, he is having only one eye. That is both the two adjectives separated by hyphen, they are describing the man. Red-faced gentleman, old-fashioned girl. And you also can take heartfelt wishes. There are many compound adjectives that we use in our daily life, okay children. You can focus and try solving the exercises given under vocabulary and grammar in your unit, and try to understand the compound adjectives. Now let's discuss the grammar given. So on the grammar, we are learning about framing yes/no questions. Okay. So what is framing a question? If we need to frame a question, how should we start? Children, listen this carefully. When you are supposed to frame a question, first we should actually have a helping verb or an auxiliary verb. Okay. So as you all know, like always the sentence structure is subject plus verb plus object. So the verb is always the main verb, okay, as told. So when the main verb is a regular verb or an irregular verb, then you have to search for the helping verbs like am, is, are, was, were, do, does, did, has, have, had. So all this. So you try to locate them. When you are unable to get any helping verb in the sentence that is given, certainly you have to go and choose the do, does, did family. One of them will help you to frame a question. Okay. So here the example given is the boy is a fool. How shall I make a question? So we can make a question by bringing the helping verb before the subject. Okay. So here the boy is a fool. The boy is the subject. Is a helping verb. A article. Fool is the nature that he is, and that is described about him. So here now I am bringing is the helping verb before the boy, that is the subject. So is the boy a fool? That is the question. Okay. Next example, Oliver asks for more. So now I don't have any helping verb here. How can I frame a question? So immediately first you have to think in your mind whether this is V1 plus yes or simply V1. So when it is V1 plus yes, like it is third person singular, so you have to use does. Okay, when it is in past tense, like when the main verb is in past tense, you have certainly to choose did. Here, Oliver asks for more. So I have to choose the helping verb to be does, D-O-E-S. So the sentence will surely be Oliver does ask for more. Oliver does ask for more. And here I am bringing the does before Oliver to frame a question. Does Oliver ask for more? Okay. So in this way, you can try many other examples and just try to bring the helping verb before the subject so that you can frame a question. So the next section is discussion of the short questions or tail questions or tag questions. Okay, so these question tags are children very small form of questions, the little questions or the contracted form of questions, whatever the name is. So these questions are asked at the end of a statement that is made. Okay, when you give out a statement, you ask this question tag at the end of the statement to get the agreement or confirmation from the listener. Okay, so you are confirming with the listener whether whatever you have said has reached them or not. Okay, so even when I say, I said this, didn't I? So when I'm saying this, I'm again asking, didn't I say this? So that is a short form of a question asked. If the statement has an auxiliary, so these are certain rules that we have to remember when we are adding this question tags, children. So when the statement has an auxiliary, the tag begins always with the same auxiliary. You have to use the same helping verb. If the helping verb is not there in that sentence, then how to make a question tag? So again, same rule that we have used in framing questions, children. We have to use one of the helping verb do, does, did to make a question tag. Why? Because the question tag structure is again helping verb plus pronoun of the subject. Okay, remember this, helping verb plus pronoun of the subject. So whenever the statement's made, put a comma after that and then you ask the short question that is helping verb plus pronoun and it certainly ends with a question mark. Okay, so here let's see one example. The weather is good today. So the weather is good today. First understand the sentence. So here the helping verb is. Okay. So we have to frame a question tag with is. And when the sentence is positive, children, remember the tag will be, the question tag will be in negative. And when the sentence is negative, the question tag must be positive. So here we are talking about weather. So I can take the subject weather like it. Okay, so hence is the structure. Okay, isn't it? So the helping verb is, so I have to make it negative, isn't, and then it ends with a subject of subject pronoun, so that is why weather is transformed to it. So it is, isn't it? The weather is good today, isn't it? Yes, the next example, they can't run fast. They can't run fast. Okay, so they can't do it. It is a negative sentence. So certainly this needs a positive question tag to be added. Here, can't is a negative helping verb, so cannot. Okay, so can plus not. And certainly I can make it to positive by removing the not. And they is already in pronoun. So I need to frame it in the form of helping verb plus subject. So hence it is, they can't run fast, can they? That is the question tag for that. And the third example, you can speak Spanish. So here we don't have any helping verb. So how can I frame a question tag? So here what can I do is immediately I have to check whether the main verb is given in V1 form or V1 plus yes. I should check that. Okay, here it is V1. You speak Spanish. So I can just say like you do speak Spanish. Okay, so do is the helping verb that I have to take here and the sentence is positive. So I have to add a negative tag. So you do speak Spanish and then tag again will be helping verb plus subject pronoun. So that is don't you. Don't you is the negative tag. Okay, let's move on to the fourth example. The boys didn't reach there. Okay, so here after reading this sentence immediately you can understand, like we discussed the three examples above. This is a negative sentence, isn't it, children? So the boys didn't reach there. It is giving us a negative meaning. Did not reach there. So certainly the helping verb is did, and the pronoun we have to consider for the boys is they. So the boys did not reach there. So did they, you are confirming again. So you are putting this question tag always to get a confirmation. Children, I once again request you all to practice the question tags by choosing different helping verbs and different sentences. You can even try out the exercises given in your section. Okay. And practice more and more question tags so that it even helps you in your day-to-day conversation. In this last section, let's know about the discourses given in this unit. So under major discourse, let's know how to write an essay. Children, first to start writing an essay, you have to know how to give an introduction to an essay. First, give the introduction to the opinion that you're going to discuss. Then in the next paragraphs, you are going to present the supporting statements or the explanation needed. And then finally you can conclude by giving the opinion. Okay, so here you are asked to write an essay describing the feelings of homeless child. Okay, so here how the child feels and what is the state of mind that is going through, and you can also describe like what are the needed rescue operations to be done by the government or the welfare organization. These all you can take into your account and discuss your own opinions and view. As this is a major discourse, children, you have to attempt it according to the marks that are allotted. Okay, so next we'll discuss about the minor discourse. Here we have to write a diary entry like you being Oliver. Now you all know the story of Oliver, and after the meeting with the live boardroom, he goes back to his bed and he cries and then sleeps. So before maybe sleeping, he writes a diary, and now you are the Oliver and you are supposed to write a diary. So how he writes a diary in that state of mind, what all happened during the day he can write, and how the meeting went in the room he can describe. And remember children, how to write a diary, you have to present it in a very good outline and give a important details like date, time, everything clearly mentioned, and of course the year. And you can quote it directly to the diary, like mentioning dear diary, or even if not mentioned, no problem. Then the first line is always like comment on the day, then go on explaining the rest of the explanation in 10 lines, mostly 8 to 10 lines is okay. That must be in past tense, simple past tense, and finally you can say the goodbye to your diary, and then you can conclude by giving your name at the corner. Okay, so this is like how you write the diary, and now you should try attempting presenting the feelings of Oliver. Okay, so even the other discourses given here are like making posters. When posters are to be made, children, remember, don't give the poster heading as a poster. I guess you know what I'm saying. The poster must be titled outside, like put poster outside the poster, and give a good title according to the topic that you are going to present. Okay, the title must be the main headline of the poster. So you have to give out the theme, relevant pictures can be drawn, relevant quotations can be given, some good pics can be drawn, give out some message. Okay, if you know any good quotations by great people relevant to this particular theme, you can even quote them in that poster. So poster is basically giving out the points in very small short quoted lines. Okay, don't try to present the information and don't cram the poster. Okay, don't fill it with all sorts of paragraphs. The information must be short and crisp, and it should not, it should have some related pictures drawn, and it must be of course attractive. Try to do that. Okay, and here we try to do a poster for importance of tree plantation. Okay, you can do that. Even you can give awareness on saving natural resources. These are very important topics of the latest contemporary issues that we are going through. So these can be asked in your exams. Okay, and hope you understood this lesson, children. If not, you can get back to the lesson and listen once again. And thank you for listening to the class, and let's meet again in the next class.